the outing on that day, the things that the president said, talking about assessment and those who are caught napping would have to leave us. Help us quickly talk about that.
The president is yet to tell anybody he's not performing. I know the Asiwaju I support. The Asiwaju I support is a go-getter. He's a man that wants everything done. He likes people to impress him and show clout that you know what you are doing. And you can see some ministers they are just trying to make sure that their card is running high and they can have more credit to their name so that they begin to be rated. It's not about the media gymnastics. It's about your personal conviction and heart of service and patriotism. Patriotism cannot be bought with loyalty or money. It is inherent in you. What Asiwaju is trying to instill is not to, and I love the way he put it, that he doesn't even put the Bala Hadiza as a all-in-all power that he must be, because maybe it should be too powerful to coerce. If you have problems, you come to me. Meaning, he's a father figure that have equally placed a kind of appeal that if you are not getting the right result or there is an intimidation, come to me. That is a good political figure. That's a father figure. You understand the game that you must perform. You're non-performer, because we have had non-performing ministers for the past 20 years. Some people are in office in Buhari era, in Jonathan era, even in Obasanjo era, in Yar'Adua era, that they never even perform anything one day. And they get budget for their ministry. But all the entire budget that is being drafted into their ministry are converted for personal use. So this is what Asiwaju is trying to caution. Asiwaju is not just saying perform and deliver. He has also put that red ball. If you are not ready to go, please leave us. If you are having issues, we will understand. But if you know that you don't even have the capacity to go on, please withdraw. That is Asiwaju before he begins to put you. And if Asiwaju is a disciplinarian, maybe you don't know. The Asiwaju is a disciplinarian. He addressed, at least I can remember when I was the student union leader in Lagos in last week, that was the time we went for a protest. He was the one also joining us in that conversation. So by the end of the day, if you Asiwaju submit to superior argument, if you have something, you can be dragging, but if you put him on caution that this is what must be done, and he will be convinced. That is human, that's leadership. So the ministers now, the boss stops on their table, not Asiwaju's table now, because they are pseudo Asiwaju in their respective ministries and offices. So if they fail to perform and they are looking for Hadiza's blueprint to score them high, or go and put something on the table of Hadiza just to be impressing Hadiza, or go and meet the cronies and associates of Hadiza to impress on Hadiza, don't think that nobody cannot be accessible. There's no human being that is inaccessible. So I don't want to be more political here. I just want to be more realistic. That the way Asiwaju is trying to tailor his governance structure, you can see the way he cautioned his own immediate family at the fact that anytime I see my son in this place, meaning the day that finds that maybe that will be the end of the chief of staff. Because that man there will be the relation of duty. That is the end of the chief security officer in the villa. That will be a lot of people will lose their job. You'll be surprised, because he has given that subtle warning, because he doesn't want anybody to mix pleasure with work. And Asiwaju always have time for pleasure. If he's in his mood of pleasure, you joke, but immediately he turns to job. You that you are on this table as a commissioner when he was a governor, everybody work, and he's a workaholic. Asiwaju, I can tell you, in 24 hours a day, Asiwaju only spend 4 hours to sleep, and he sleep from 3 a.m. or at about 4 a.m. downward to 7 a.m. That is the way he sleep. He work from morning till 3. He rest around 12 a.m. Also come back to work, because he sees governors as his own inherent. He trained himself to be like that. If you are not well trained, you don't have that zeal. You can see the way he's well composed. I'm not comparing now. This will be the first time we are having presidency in the making that can begin to tell us bit by bit, but there are still some holes that needed to be filled.
I'm going to have to bump in on you now, Hassan. I'm going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to have to bump in on you real quick. There are a couple of more things I want to talk to you about these retreats, ministerial retreats, with regards to what the president said, number one, but more importantly, the choices that were made regarding appointment in the first instance. We'll talk about all of those just after this short break. Please do stay with us. Good morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
the legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
the legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
All right, so let's draw the curtains in the next few minutes. So we just want to get Barrister Oladetu Hassan back on the show. So I was going to ask you, thank you for your patience, by the way, but I wanted to ask you about how this whole thing started, because Wednesday was not when these gentlemen and women were appointed. Some persons had raised concerns about some former governors in the government of President TINUBU, who are now ministers, about how they didn't run their states properly and yet are now appointed ministers. Is it a matter of the end justifies the means?
I mean, Ashwaju as a person, or how some political person gain their offices. Let me be very blunt here. There is political appointment that you must gain some political power by virtue of politics. That is, you would support must also be reaped from their support. There are some negotiations that goes beforehand, and Ashwaju would not in any way suppress his agreement under any deceit. He's a man that fulfills his agreement at times, no matter how you might see him. It's not left for you not to fail in what you say you want to do. I'm not to overemphasize the importance that we've had former governors. Yes, former governor Wike is a performing governor in Rivers State, and that's why Ashwaju know that he needed somebody who's more altruistic to manage FCT, who can be able to drive that caution, because Federal Capital Territory is the center for all. So that's why he appointed a minister. That's not governor of the state; he's a minister. So that let not some people not mistaking minister as governor in FCT, but for the fact that he gets those people who can perform. We've seen Umai. Umai is taking his job due diligently. We've seen Beta Edu going on everywhere to perform his job diligently. Some other ministers, they get actual performance record. They don't wait for presidential. They don't wait. They want the people to judge them by their standard. The people that can judge is not Bala Usman. It's the people. So now I've corrected that impression. Now it goes to say, governors that do not perform in their state, you cannot just get the governor who have not performed. Let's not be too political here. Every governor must have done one or two things to win the support of his people in the state, because dollars that don't, they vote, and it's part and parcel of their democratic tenet. So I want to see from another angle that we can get it right. We can begin to set good standard. And that is what I'm expecting of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And he's doing it in as much as he's performing. Where I need to raise my opinion and caution him, I'm not just a bootlicker. Even if he appoints me today and gives me a position of opportunity, I will equally want to perform, because that is what he needs. He needs people, he needs a lot of disciples, not loyalists. Disciples are different from loyalists. Disciples are people who will take your duty as yours. Somebody who have given your power of attorney to act on your behalf as if you are the one. That's who he needs this time around. And that's why he's appointing the young, the old, women, balancing every scale, giving everybody that fair share. And he has not let down his percentage of opportunity. The opportunity given to the youth are there. You can see the leverage of
incidentally, okay, I just go ahead, Hassan, and land on that point.
Yes. So what we really need is performance. And the best way we can get performance is by their assured reasoning, giving themselves that conviction that I don't need Asiwaju to tell me to do this. I don't need a Bala Usman. A lot of the ministers there are more experienced than Bala Usman. Yes, Bala Usman too is experienced as an administrator in NPA. He's also served with the former governor of Kaduna State. They know themselves. But this time around, we are talking about national interest. Asiwaju just only needed somebody who will become his class captain, who will be monitoring the class monitor, monitoring who is not performing and reporting and ensuring that proper things are done. Asiwaju is not expected. Look at the arrays of people now. You can see balancing and competition. And that's what is the beauty of politics. The ministers now are competing for attention. They are competing by performing. They are competing by delivering their duty and task. But they are competing by innovating new ideas, bringing on the table what will impress Mr. President. They don't see him as a master, but they see him as a servant. Because Asiwaju is the chief servant. Every other person performing as a minister are co-servants, because they are serving us as the people. But where this whole thing will begin to metamorphose into something else is when you as a minister begin to overreach your duty, or when you begin to see means of how to siphon money and corrupt yourself. These are things I know Asiwaju will be very mad at anyone. You might think he's not seeing you, but he's getting every bit of information that he needs around. That is just to serve as a note of caution. He knows his onions.
Yes.
We hope that he's going to get the best from the government.
Of course, by all means, especially for Nigerians. So I'd like to say thank you so very much to you. First, for taking out the time to come on the show this morning, and for the patience through those few instances of technical hitch this morning. Barrister Oladotun Hassan, President, Yoruba Council Worldwide, we appreciate your time with us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for watching. We'd like to remind you that the views of our guests on all of our programs are their opinions and not those of Global Television. I'm Agbomofuegbe. I'll see you again. Do stay with Global TV.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.